Good morning. I have a lot of thoughts going on in my head that are um, circulating, so we'll see how this goes. But um, the devotion for my morning came from Psalm 41, and it's just the beginning, 1 through 4. And I've been reading the Psalms through a book by Tripp, and this one kind of hits home, but it connects to so many things that get me fired up. So we'll see where my thoughts go. But the first 4 verses of Psalm 41. Blessed are those who have regard for the weak. The Lord delivers them in times of trouble. The Lord protects them and preserves them. They are counted among the blessed in the land. He does not give them over to the desire of their foes. The Lord sustains them on their sick bed and restores them from their bed of illness. I said, have mercy on me, Lord. Heal me, for I have sinned against you. And goes on and talks about blessed are the merciful. When we have regard for the weak and the poor, it means more than like giving to charity. It's really considering them, why they're there, how we help them. And it talks about a sign of being saved by grace is how we care for the poor. And one of the things my job has really kind of opened my eyes to, specifically this year I was able to go to a training on poverty, and based off a book by Ruby Payne. And the psychology and the mindset behind those that live in extreme poverty is really fascinating. And I think for people who have never been in poverty for a duration, wouldn't understand. And so I often find myself like being an advocate for those in poverty and speaking, at times debating about. There's a lie, I believe, that we're out of poverty because we've worked really hard. And that says that in the devotion today, that our culture often spouts that lie, that we're not in poverty because we work hard. That doesn't mean people are in poverty. Like sometimes it's by their choices they've made that are poor choices, but why are those choices being made? Might not be within their control. So I think there's a lot of judgment when it comes to poverty, especially in a developed country. And so when I think about the weak, those in their sick bed, especially in a time like this, one thing I've learned in this country is one of the triggers for poverty is often illness, which is really hard, which goes into like a whole bunch of political stuff, right? And I will be the first to tell you that I don't understand, as well as I probably should, all the political things behind what might lead people to poverty and what might support people in poverty. All political. But what I do know is the gospel calls us to care for those in poor. I also know the gospel does not tell us what political ideology we're supposed to subscribe to other than the gospel. And what's really concerning to me for the church is when we are so set on a specific political ideology or a platform or a party, or like right now there's all these memes going around about what makes someone become a socialist, $1,000. Like there's all this stuff going around, and no matter where we fall, if our heart is hardened, if we're so set on a stance that we've taken that our heart is not moldable by the Holy Spirit, it's prevented to be molded by the Holy Spirit, because of the stance we've taken, we're in a dangerous place. And sometimes I feel like we're in a dangerous place. Because the church, or people of the church, speak to or against certain ways because their political tendency is against those things, when maybe the gospel is trying to challenge them to consider the other way. Not saying the other way is right, but being open to the gospel prompting us, that's right. And that's needed. And if we're to care for the poor and we're to care for the sick, especially in a time like this, we need to be open to the gospel more than our political stance. That's my thoughts.